right now on 5 on your side at 10.
Well, severe weather earlier caused hail, even accumulating hail in Fenton and many areas throughout the bi-state. When we'll see another round of showers and storms, and when we can expect severe weather again coming up.
A violent night in St. Louis. Young people the victims of gun violence again. But first, a state takeover fails.
Clearly, voters in the city of St. Louis should have some say with their police department.
What lawmakers have to say as St. Louis police remains under city control. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson. Brent Solomon is on assignment. St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones is celebrating a big win in Jefferson City, where police unions were pushing for a state takeover of the police department. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, recaps what went wrong for the unions and what comes next for the mayor. Mark.
Well, police unions went to Jefferson City on a revenge mission this year, intent on wresting control of the police department out of the hands of the mayor and voters in favor of a state takeover. But tonight, lobbyists for the police union and lawmakers backing that plan are regrouping after suffering a stinging defeat at the State House.
We're going home.
When the Missouri House and Senate dismissed Friday night and the last gavel dropped, the St. Louis Police Department remained in the hands of city voters. House Democrat Lakeisha Bosley echoed arguments Mayor Tashara Jones made in her public push to keep the department under city control.
We've got a new police chief. Allow this new police chief to be able to do his job.
Chief Robert Tracy testified to lawmakers in favor of local control and secured support from Democrats outside city limits.
Clearly, voters in the city of St. Louis should have some say with their police department.
While police unions pushed the plan through the House, it stalled in the Senate, where Senator Brian Williams said the party in the supermajority got in its own way.
I do think the Republican infighting did play a significant role.
In the waning days of the legislative session, Republican leadership, including Senate Majority Leader Cindy O'Laughlin, shot down the plan. She wrote, "I think the new police chief needs a chance to make the system work before we intervene." But before the deal was dead, Mayor Jones was already working behind the scenes.
I think the mayor outfoxed Republicans.
In a new contract with the unions, the mayor gave officers a big boost in pay, and the contract said that pay raise would disappear if the state took over.
Oh, that was perfect. That was chef's kiss.
In a statement, Jones said the leadership of the Police Officers Association and the Ethical Society of Police worked alongside right-wing, outstate Republicans trying to overturn the results of our elections. They failed, and St. Louisans will not forget their desperate attempt to take power from residents and hand it over to Jefferson City. The Ethical Society of Police responding in a statement, "We agree to disagree," and argued the campaign was still productive because now the issues within the department and for our officers are being heard and taken more seriously.
Police unions still want to see pay raises for civilian workers at the police department who may not wear the badge. People like dispatchers often flooded with phone calls. The mayor won this round, local control of police. But when she faces voters in 2 years, they'll want to know if she brought that second word, control of crime in the city.
All right, thank you, Mark. Tonight, it is a push for safer streets and safer driving. A distracted driving ban is headed to Missouri Governor Mike Parson's desk for his signature. Right now, it is illegal for drivers under 21 to text and drive in Missouri, but this bill would make it illegal for everyone. But some advocates are worried about people not taking it seriously, how police will enforce the law, and what penalties won't be given out until 2025. One advocate believes it is a step in the right direction, but more work needs to be done.
Bringing back driver's ed, looking at our infrastructure of our roads, how our traffic signals are timed, how we look at road diets and how many lanes of traffic there are.
If the bill is signed into law, it will take effect at the end of August of this year, but police won't write tickets until 2025 to give you more time to learn about the law. New tonight, a family is mourning the loss of a 22-year-old man who drowned at Carondelet Park. Happened early this morning. Police confirmed first responders found a body in the water near the boathouse. Police say the drowning is accidental. Tonight, a suspect's in custody and a man is in the hospital after a shooting in North St. Louis. Happened before 11 a.m. in the Hamilton Heights neighborhood on Montclair Avenue. A man was taken to the hospital. He's expected to be okay. Police have not released any other information. Also tonight, a 21-year-old man is dead after a crash early this morning on the Poplar Street Bridge. St. Clair County coroner identified the man as Braden Mackenzie Collins of Chesterfield. Illinois State Police say the crash happened about 2:45 this morning. in the I-255 northbound lanes on the Illinois side of the bridge. One person was also taken to the hospital with minor injuries and is expected to be okay. St. Louis police are investigating 2 shootings overnight. 2 teens are injured. Police responded to the 3800 block of Sullivan Friday night, where a 16-year-old boy was shot in his collarbone. He is in critical stable condition. And then early this morning, another shooting at Union and Bircher, where another 16-year-old boy was shot. Police say the teenager was walking across from the BP gas station when a car drove by. A person wearing a black ski mask leaned out of the window and fired shots, hitting the teenager twice. He is also in critical stable condition. Tonight, we have learned the name of the person shot and killed yesterday in North St. Louis. Police identified the victim as 25-year-old Caleb Bell. He was found dead yesterday afternoon in the 3600 block of Garfield Avenue after being shot. So far, no suspects have been charged. Police are asking anyone with information to call Crime Stoppers. It's 866-371-TIPS. You will remain anonymous. We are in weather alert tonight after a stormy Saturday afternoon. You're looking at video of hail that 5 on Your Side photojournalist Jimmy Kruko shot as he was driving through Kirkwood. The hail got so intense that Jimmy and other cars, as you can see, had to pull over to a nearby gas station to take shelter. Weather First meteorologist Gary Frank, you were a tad busy this afternoon. Are we in the clear for tonight?
Yeah, I think we are. You know, we're going to say pretty calm. And these storms are really driven by the heating of the day and just the setup that we are, and it's just how near the front that we are. Normally, they come from west to east, they move through, they have some sort of storm movement, and these storms typically don't do that. And we'll show you why here in about 10 minutes, but it's quiet right now. We'll see that. And you'll notice that these storms, right as the sun set, they pretty much fizzled out. And that's what they were driven by, the heating of the day. And then they merged with the other storms, other boundaries, things of that nature. And what we look at right now, and you can see that at a line from Springfield all to Wichita, that's going to stay there. For now, though, temps are still in the 60s and 70s. It's very muggy. The big picture doesn't show much of a change. There will be one here coming up shortly, but I do think that over the next few hours, we're going to focus on a couple of different things. And one of them specifically is the fact that I do expect another round of storms for us tomorrow. As we're in the 70s now, we'll focus on our next chance for rain, which should arrive by tomorrow afternoon. Very similar to the way things set up this morning. So that's what we're going to look at. As these storms to the south stay away from us, we'll track our next opportunity for rain, how it impacts your Mother's Day, outdoor plans, and when we'll finally get out of this humid, semi-active pattern and talk about how much rain received earlier today.
All right, Gary. Today, clergy members from more than 200 local churches came together to kick off this year's Grill to Glory event. It's a faith-based initiative hosted by the Urban League as a way to extend programs and resources into the community through neighborhood churches. Members fellowshipped and enjoyed hot dogs and other signature barbecue dishes. This is the first Grill to Glory event of the year.
It's one of the most historic airports in the U.S. Why St. Louis Lambert International Airport is getting special recognition today.
The internet wouldn't work, or you couldn't hear them properly, or like the microphones would mess up.
Learning challenges caused by the pandemic. Our I-Team looks into how schools are spending federal relief funds against a racing clock.
A whole mess throughout the entire region as it's still hot and humid. And after one round of storms today, we're going to see another round tomorrow. How that impacts your Sunday afternoon plans, and if we're expecting severe weather again as well.
St. Louis Lambert International Airport is getting some special recognition. Today, the Greater St. Louis Flight Instructors Association hosted its annual Aviation Awards banquet at the Aero Event Space in Terminal 1. The event celebrated the rich history of Lambert. Author and keynote speaker Daniel Rust says there's another big celebration happening this year.
This year, in 2023, celebrate the centennial of the International Air Races held here in 1923. And that was really the big event that launched Lambert Airport.
A series of aviation awards was presented for lifetime contributions to aviation, including the Spirit of St. Louis Award, Certified Flight Instructor Award, and more. And Lambert Airport reached its 100th anniversary in 2020. Today was the annual Manchester Craft Beer Festival in Schroeder Park. People sampled more than 24 beer brands from the St. Louis area. There was plenty of food and live music from John Henry Band.
Well, we've still got this active pattern. As one set of storms moves out, you'll see the next set try to move in from the south. How that particular area impacts us tomorrow and when the rainiest portion of your Sunday is expected.
COVID-19 is no longer a global health emergency, which means schools have a deadline to use tens of millions of dollars in federal COVID relief money. It's meant to help students after learning challenges caused by the pandemic. Senior investigative reporter Paula Vassan from our I-Team got an inside look at how the money has been put to use so far.
At Beasley Elementary School in St. Louis County,
they have a new game for us. It's called the Great Race.
He's number 6.
You'll find Julie Wharton doing what she loves most.
Is she measuring in inches or centimeters? Inches. I've always wanted to be a teacher. Show them that math is a positive thing and you can have a lot of fun in math.
Helping students like 11-year-old Aaliyah Abram catch up.
Especially like multiplying and stuff like that.
After 2 years of a virtual classroom.
Sometimes you would disconnect with the teacher, or you couldn't get into the thing on time, so they would tardy you. The internet wouldn't work, or you couldn't hear them properly, or like the microphones would mess up.
That must have been frustrating.
It was frustrating.
Which is longer, 1 inch or 1 centimeter?
So Wharton is now one of 34 new instructors, also called interventionists, spread out among 19 schools in the Melville School District. And it's thanks to $14 million in federal funding the district has gotten to offset learning loss caused by the pandemic.
Do you feel like the COVID learning loss is now wiped out?
It is not wiped out. We still have a lot of work to do.
Students here fell up to 2 grades behind in math and a full grade behind in reading following the pandemic. District officials say they've since cut that loss in half by spending the vast majority of their federal funding for more teachers, tutoring, and after-school programs.
Do you think the millions of dollars in federal funding is going to really help to close the gap? Is it enough?
At this point, I don't think it's enough. I think we need to continue providing the money and the resources for our students to learn.
In all, schools in Missouri are getting $3 billion, largely to help students catch up. Schools have until September to spend the next round of funds. And so far, local school districts are about 90% of the way there. They have to spend the final amount by September 2024, when the funding expires. So far, Missouri schools have divvied out about 40% of those funds, with about $1 billion left to spend. Beasley Elementary School's principal, Andrea Dean, says spending the money in time will not be a problem because the need is so great.
How do you feel about the fact that this funding has a 3-year limit?
That's a challenge. What's going to happen after next year? It's a little bit scary.
More than half of her students live at or below the poverty line.
If you had more poverty in your school district, you receive proportionally a larger amount.
Says Chris Neal with the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
You tend to see greater need, greater cost among students who are economically disadvantaged. It's the whole reason we have a federal interest in education, is to help level the playing field.
For students like Abram, it's a race to catch up.
Where do you line up your ruler?
And for teachers like Wharton, it's pressure to make up for lost time before time runs out.
I think we need to continue providing the money and the resources for our students to learn.
Many educators are worried about the federal funding coming to an end, saying these financial resources have been desperately needed. Their big challenge now is how to make the best use of these one-time funds, knowing they will not last forever. For the I-Team, Paula Vassan, 5 on your side.
Mother's Day is tomorrow, and the St. Louis Wheel is doing something special to celebrate. Tomorrow, guests who purchase a ticket can bring their moms for free. Mothers can enjoy the city skyline 200 feet in the air at no cost, and the wheel will be open from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday. We are in weather alert tonight as Mother's Day could see a potential for more severe thunderstorms in the area. Meteorologist Gary Frank Any sun for Mom tomorrow?
Yeah, there'll be plenty of sun, but it's like the pattern the last couple of days where it's sunny and then clouds mix in, and maybe a few miles down the road, it's all of a sudden it's pouring, and that's what we're going to have to deal with. That's what we had on our time lapse. It started out with a mix of sun and clouds, and then you started to see all these clouds build, and this is a real good rush because this is in O'Fallon, Illinois. Watch this big rush as those storms develop and come in from left to right, and there's where that burst of extremely heavy rain went from, and not only produced that, but hail as well. And then after that, you see all these mix of weird clouds because we start to have this time where it's hot and humid, and then you have that rain-cooled air, and you see the wind going one direction, wind going the other direction. That's what we have a lot of. Right now, it's quiet. We'll stay that way overnight. This is from Sandy. You can see another view of those clouds. So this is also from 44 and 141 in Fenton. So from Kristen, I mean, accumulating hail from marble size all the way up to quarter size. We even saw larger than that. That was from our 5 on Your Side Weather Watchers Facebook group. Join it and share photos. We really appreciate all those that have sent those photos in. And what I want to show you is how that rain moved over the same location multiple times, and you can see that product on radar where we had that rain-cooled outflow that really settled in. And that's what generated more storms. That's what I'm going to look at for tomorrow as well. As we have estimated rainfall rates that we had some rainfall rates up to 2 inches per hour. And while these storms kind of rained themselves out or moved away, you had upwards of 3 inches in some cases and a brief burst of over 1.5 inches at Lambert, which, is pretty impressive, all things considered. So there were pockets of 2 to 3 inches of rain, but a lot of us got over 1 inch in some cases. So very beneficial rain. Right now, that's moved out overnight. We don't have to deal with it. And tonight, storms are ending. We're in the mid-60s. Clouds are around. You'll start off muggy and humid again. But the same pattern. Watch how this exits, this is coming up, and it's the same piece of energy that's eventually going to lift, work its way, and interact with the heating of the day and give us more opportunity for storms. And that's why I think that while not all of them will be and maybe as severe as what we had today, the possibility is there for still hail and some more brief heavy rainfall. So let's watch out for that throughout the day, 6, 7 o'clock, but by 10 o'clock, that severe threat really diminishes, and then I think we transition to just some rain overnight. 40 to 60 mile an hour wind gusts are still possible. We didn't have that much today. I don't think that changes a lot tomorrow, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. We do have those brief bursts of heavy rain and some areas with large hail. That's what we had to deal with. So here in the short term, that's our last severe threat, and it's an alert day for Mom on Sunday. Showers 71, and I think that rain kind of hangs with us in the morning, and then we're finally going to get out of this humidity as we've kind of been stuck in that. It's really been humid moving forward. Feels a little bit more like August or July.
Oh, it does. It is so soupy
It's pretty
there.
soupy when you go, it hits you right when you walk out the door.
Oh, it does, no doubt. All right, thanks, Gary. Corey's here with sports.
Well, it was another fun day in Boston, a less fun day in Chicago, and a history-making day for one of our local high school teams. That's all coming up next in sports.
And Chris Brady coming up.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
Gorman does it again. A pinch hit double. Second and third, one out. It's a one-run game.
Wow, what an at-bat. Again, he does it again.
Well, Nolan Gorman hasn't started either game in Boston so far, and it hasn't mattered. He's come through huge for the Cardinals 2 nights in a row. Last night it was his team-leading 9th homer off Kenley Jansen in the 9th. Today he was right in the middle of another Cards comeback. Chris Sale is looking like 2017 Chris Sale today at Fenway. 8 innings, 9 strikeouts. Nolan Arenado was the only one to get the better of him. Nolan's second blast over the monster in as many days. But Kenley Jansen came on in the 9th, and it was a welcome sight. Down 3-1, Nolan Gorman in as a pinch hitter again, and he comes through again. A double in the gap scores Goldie. It's a 1-run game. The bases are loaded, 1 out. Alec Burleson, he's in to pinch hit this time, and he puts it in play. Red Sox try to turn 2. They can't. Brendan Donovan heads up base running. He gets in the way. They throw it away. Cardinals score 2. They win 4-3 and complete another wild comeback in Beantown.
Yeah, it's awesome to get wins like this for sure. Coming back and late in the games and closing it down in the bottom of the 9th. Especially at this ballpark, it was definitely fun.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
For the second time this week, City SC made the short trip up I-55 from City Park to Chicago. They already came back with one loss on Tuesday, and today provided some deja vu. A good number of City fans made the trip up to Chicago as well. They only saw one goal, and it was from the Fire's Rafael Chios, beating Roman Berkey right there. City had a few good chances. Cilio Pompeo almost beats the keeper, but he doesn't. There was a cool moment later on in this one. 16-year-old Columbia, Illinois native Caden Glover got his first game action in the MLS, but City does lose 1-0. They have scored just one or no goals in 5 of their last 6 MLS games, and something just feels a bit off lately.
I have the feeling that something is missing. I don't know what. Maybe it's Klaus. I don't know, but something is missing in the team. I think we have not the same energy we had like before in games like Cincinnati or the first home games, the games in Austin, our first MLS game. It's just something is missing. Yeah.
The XFL Championship was tonight. This guy had the right idea. His sign says, should have been St. Louis. Yep, caw. It was actually Arlington and DC for the XFL title. There's the trophy, you just saw it. It would end up being Arlington, the team that made the playoffs with a losing record. Who wins the title? Renegades beat the Defenders 35-26. Shout out to the Ladue Narings combined girls water polo team. They beat Marquette today 6-4 at Pattonville to win their first district and therefore state title. The Rams scored 5 times in the second half to clinch the championship. Exciting times there for sure.
Your caw was a little weak, Corey.
Well, it's, I got a whole off season to work on it.
Yes, that's right. Thanks so much for joining us. SNL is next. Be sure to join us for Today in St. Louis at 6.